And so, the first question asks about my relationship with Nick Cave. I became a fan of Nick Cave when I first heard his band before the Bad Seeds, The Birthday Party. I heard the 7-inch with Blast Off as the B-side and Release the Bats as the A-side. And produced by Nick, I'm forgetting his name, I'm really tired, I apologize. It'll come to me later, like when I'm on the bus. Anyway, so I heard that 7-inch. I think Ian MacKay's younger brother, Alec, had it. And I was maybe on a Black Flag tour, and I heard that one. I want to hear all of this band's music. I was immediately hooked. Fascinated by the riff, the lyric hook. Fascinated by the riff, the lyrics, and Nick Cave's delivery. He's amazing. He's a genius. And so I found the Prayers on Fire album. I found all the 7-inches around those records. And then I found out that Nick Cave was in a band with members of the Birthday Party called the Boys Next Door. And that was the precursor to the Birthday Party. Found all of those records. By the summer of 1984, I am a diehard Nick Cave fan. And I had seen the Birthday Party. I'm so lucky. I saw the Birthday Party right before they broke up, March 30th, 1983, at a small club in Los Angeles called the Roxy. There's not a bad sight line in the Roxy. No matter where you're standing, you can see the band and hear the band. It's a perfect small venue. I was standing basically right here in front of Rollins, an amazing guitar player, sadly passed away in 2009. And I went specifically to be in front of him. That's the sound I wanted. Check him out. No one sounds like Roland, a tremendously gifted singer, songwriter, guitar player, tone terrorist. I think he played a Jaguar guitar. Amazing. So I got to see Nick Cave pretty early on. The next night, I go to see a Minutemen show, the great SST band, the Minutemen, at a place called the Lingerie Club. It's now some disco. Anyway, I'm there to see the Minutemen. I still have the flyer. And there's Nick Cave sitting at a table. I guess the Birthday Party stayed in town, and he's with a minder. If you're someone who drinks a lot and does a lot of drugs and you're crazy, you have a bodyguard that's more like a babysitter, so you don't act out and get bounced out of a club, so you don't puke and pass out. He gets you back to your room. And so I've been around a lot of, heavy people in my life. I go, that's not a bodyguard, that's a minder. Because Nick, the guy could put away some booze. I think he's all better now. And so I walked up to him, because the Birthday Party had very generously put Black Flag on the guest list, so I can at least walk up and thank him. And so I said, hey, Nick Cave, Henry Rollins. And he's like, whoa, hey, man. I go, man, I was at the show last night. You guys were amazing. They were really, really good. And I said, thank you so much, man. And we ended up talking for quite a while. And we became pals. The summer, that was spring '83. By summer '84, Black Flag goes to England. And we're getting ready to play shows. We get there a week early. We have band practice, get over jet lag, get in shape for the shows. And we find out that we're hoteling up about a block away from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds when they're called Nick Cave and the Cavemen. They haven't done the whole Bad Seeds thing yet. And so I find out that Nick is a block away from me. So I walk over to his hotel and I see someone in the band. And I'm like, hey, tell Nick that Henry from Black Flag is down the street. And so Nick and I hang out all week. He's got his band practice, I've got mine, and I'm hanging out at his hotel because he's got some kind of deal where he's eating. So I'm eating his food because I'm, in Black Flag, there's never any food. And so one night he goes, hey, I've got a gig in Bristol. The Nick Cave and the Cavemen are playing in Bristol. Like, why don't you come to the show? And so I got a night off from band practice. Greg was so mad. I'm like, screw it, man. I want to see Nick Cave's new band. And so I got in a train with his manager, Jessamy Calkin, who you'll see a photo of on the From Her to Eternity album, a Polaroid. Those are her Polaroids. She did the cover art of that record. She's on that record. And Jim Thurwell, Fetus. And so the three of us took a train up to Bristol. I tape recorded the show, which I've now made into a CDR. I still have it. And they played all 9 songs they had. And an Australian band called the Moodists opened. And so I spent the night with Fetus and Jessamy at one of their friends' house in Bristol, took the train back to London. And I've had this long relationship with Nick Cave over the years. I had a publishing company, which I still do. And Nick started doing his lyric books, King Ink 1, King Ink 2. I contacted Nick. I go, let me be your US label. And I ended up putting out Nick Cave's first 2 lyric books, Kings 1 and 2, and The Ass Saw the Angel. I licensed it from, I think, Penguin Press. I put out a photo book by Pete Milne of their first, their 1992 tour of the U.S. called Fish in a Barrel. So I've done a lot of work with Nick Cave as his publisher. I licensed all the birthday party titles and put them out on my label in the United States. And so I was able to remaster some of that stuff. If you see the official Birthday Party live album, you'll see me thanked for its creation, because I'm the one who bugged Mick Harvey of the Bad Seeds and the Birthday Party to put out live recordings of the Birthday Party, because they were one of the most amazing live bands you'll ever hear. And a lot of that album, it comes from my live tape collection. I have a crazy Birthday Party and Bad Seeds tape collection. Not so much Bad Seeds, but definitely a lot of Birthday Party. And some of it was used for the live album. So I can't say I know Nick all that well. I see Nick when I see him. And Nick Launay, that's the producer. And the last time I saw Nick Launay, I was in London to speak before Suicide, the band, would go play their last show. Alan Vega's wife asked me to fly out to England and speak about Alan and Marty, and of course I lived to serve her, so I did. And I'm at the same hotel as Nick Launay. And so Nick walks up to me. I know him by reputation. He was like, Henry Rollins. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm Nick Launay. I'm like, damn, sit down right now, man. Like, let's hang out. I go, what are you here in town for? He goes, we're about to start work on the next Bad Seeds record. And so Nick's in Brighton, I'm here, and I'll be seeing him like in the next few days, and we're getting ready to make the album. I guess would be a Push the Sky Away. I think that ended up being the record, or I forget which one. And then a few days later, Nick's son died. And so I haven't seen or heard from Nick since his son died, and as you know, another one of his sons died. And I've met one of his kids. I was playing with one of his kids in 1992 in Melbourne. I was out there doing press, and he was making the Henry's Dream album. And I met his first son, and there's photos in that Fish in a Barrel book of me and Nick with his little son. I think you can probably find him on your phone right now. And so that basically, I hope, answers that question. I've had this interesting time with Nick because I'm such a big fan of his. I think he's amazing. The albums he's made about his child dying, for me, are very hard to listen to because it's just so unbearably heavy. And I don't know what it would be like to have known Nick as long as I have since 1983 and see Nick. Because you can't say, hey Nick, man, what's happening? Because you have to, and now there's 2 dead sons in his life. 1 would be hard enough. 2, you must believe that like life has it in for you. So I don't know if I'll ever see Nick Cave again in my life. I mean, life is short, who knows? And I've thought about it. If I ever saw Nick Cave again, what would I say? Besides, like, I'm so sorry, man. And that is going to make the rest of the conversation really uncomfortable. And so in this big page of questions, it asks, why were you on stage with Jello Biafra in July of 2007, I think it was, or 7, singing backing vocals on Deanna, the Bad Seeds song, at a Grinderman show, Nick Cave's guitar band. I flew from Syria to see Nick Cave play twice in San Francisco. And so I'm at the shows, and at the second night, it's a smaller club date, I'm on the side of the stage, standing with Jello Biafra, who I've known since like 1791. And Nick Cave walks by us on his way to the stage. Nick has a wicked sense of humor. He's a funny guy because he's so brilliant. He walks out to the microphone for the encore, like, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a song called Deanna. And tonight's backing vocalists are Henry Rollins and Jello Biafra. We're like, what? And Jello looks at me like, I don't know the words. I'm like, just watch my mouth and say Deanna, oh Deanna, over and over. Okay. And we go out there and we do the most crap backing vocals you've ever heard. And people are watching us like, this sucks. And Nick must have thought it was the height of hilarity. We're back there, oh Deanna, and probably, what's the word? Sucked. And that's just Nick. Like he's funny. Well, he's funny like Stanley Kubrick thought he was funny. Anyway, that happened.